The Seattle band Tad, while being hugely influential in the local music scene, were stung by bad luck. Lawsuits and their fight with a major corporation derailed their career trajectory. But one person who also didn't help was Courtney Love. That's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Founded in 1988 by frontman and guitarist Tad Doyle, the band Tad would be one of the first acts to be signed to local label Sub Pop. As the so-called grunge movement grew in popularity by the early 90s, the band would sign a deal with Warner Music Group's Giants Records. I had previously covered the story of the band the Gitz, a punk outfit whose career would be cut short when frontwoman Zapata was found murdered. Well, a benefit show would be held in Seattle to hire a private investigator after the police seemed to give up on the investigation for the time being. Tad was scheduled to headline the benefit show, and Nirvana's Kurt Cobain would partake in the show according to the book Everybody Loves Our Town. The benefit show would take place at the King Cat Theater, and the backstage area was pretty tiny, so everyone was crammed next to one another, resulting in some tension. Tad bassist Kurt Danielson would recall in the book, basically Courtney Love and Tad's then girlfriend Barbara had a little tussle. You should have seen it. There's Tad sitting slumped in his chair, Kurt sitting next to him slumped in his chair. Those two girls are pulling at each other's hair. Total catfight. Scratching each other, they knocked over a lamp, the carpet catches on fire, nobody gets up to put the fire out, so I put the fire out, he'd say. Steve Moriarty of the band the Gitz would add in the same book, I remember Courtney Love was high out of her mind, walking around and saying there wasn't enough light backstage, and she wanted more light. Probably because her eyes were pinned and she couldn't see in the dark, he'd say. Moriarty would add that Tad's girlfriend told Courtney Love to shut up, and it would result in them landing blows on one another. According to the same book, it would be Kurt Cobain who put an end to things, telling everyone to leave the backstage area, with insults being thrown about certain people's drug habits. A few months later, Tad was out on tour in Europe, and the group spent one day doing interviews. It resulted in the group not getting a lot of sleep and having not eaten. There was one interview that Tad Doyle did with an English press outlet who heard about the scuffle that happened in Seattle backstage at the Gitz benefit show. According to the same book, it was the English press outlet who had some leading questions about the whole incident. Doyle reportedly told the journalist, and I quote, "Courtney Love, that bitch slapped my girlfriend." It would be that quote that made headlines in both New Musical Express or Enemy and Melody Maker in the UK, and Courtney Love would end up catching wind of the interview. Tad was slated to open some shows for Nirvana in America alongside the Butthole Surfers, and the members of Tad would claim that Courtney Love would then speak to her husband Kurt Cobain and got the band kicked off the tour. But in the same book, Love responded to these accusations saying, "Great, is this the Blame Courtney week? I had a role in removing Tad from the In Utero tour," she would ask. "Is this some Yoko shit? I didn't have anything to do with who Kurt took out on tour. I remember my physical alterations. I certainly didn't get into any fight with Tad's girlfriend. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. People like to make things up about me," she'd say. Let's talk about some of the other problems that Tad ran into.